And there, if you look on the screen, you can see where Nick Stewart is currently located. And he is advancing along Highway 92 there from Washington over towards Sigourney. So he'll be coming underneath the storm, and we do understand that we have got some pictures from Nick. So let's go to that and see what we can see. And obviously, dark skies. He's not quite close enough yet to actually see the wall cloud that's developed with the storm. But he's out there, and we'd like to hear what he has to say. Nick, what's going on?
Hey, Terry. Yeah, we're continuing to move west down 92 towards that tornado warning, which does remain in effect until 7:30. Obviously, a lot of farming equipment on the road, just kind of slowing our progress just a little bit. But I gotta say, visually speaking, I mean, there's a very dark skies. You know, there's definitely a lot of precipitation falling with this storm, which highlights another danger with this. If you're inside that tornado warning polygon, do note that you might not be able to see a tornado if it is in fact on the ground, because it's going to be so heavily wrapped in rain and hail. The visibility will not be great if you're trying to look for it. So I wouldn't even bother trying to do so. Definitely make sure you're taking your tornado precautions. Starting to see some lightning flashes with the storm as well, so it's very electrically charged. The environment that we're in is quite unstable, especially for early May standards, so it has a lot of fuel to go. Storms in this area that it may have already kind of tampered with that environment just a little bit. So we'll kind of continue to kind of move in on it. We're almost on the far eastern edge of that tornado warning polygon, and we should have some better visuals here coming up in just a few minutes.
Hey, Nick, just one more question before you hang out there. In terms of structure, are you seeing anything that would indicate there is a wall cloud or rotation within the storm itself?
I gotta say, you can see, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it through the video, but there is definitely what we would call like a meso. It's a mesocyclone. You can kind of tell the broad area where it's rotating. That's also where a lot of the lightning is. If you're looking at the screen right now, I'll be coming just over these trees right here in just 1 second. It's that whiter cloud that's there. That's kind of the broad area that the storm is rotating, but we cannot see the low levels where that wall cloud or funnel cloud would be sitting.
All right, Nick, we'll let you advance down the road, and we're going to check back with you here shortly to get some more pictures and images coming out of that area. And now we're back to the velocity mode, and this is where we can see the rotation within the storm. Right now, nothing that looks tight, I'll tell you that much, and that's a good thing. We don't want to see that because it does indicate a better chance for a tornado. But right now, kind of a broad rotation passing across Keokuk County with the threat of a tornado developing there. And at this point, we have not had any confirmation of tornadoes on the ground. Want to make that very clear. But just to the north of Sigourney now, the storm is passing, and it looks like it's going to parallel Highway 92 as it heads on east across Keokuk County. Any reports come into the office here?
No, it's been pretty quiet as far as any storm reports go. The storm going to be near South English around 7:20 to kind of put a timestamp on it. It is moving east at about 25 miles per hour. Harper 7:25. Also Kinross around 7:30 is when you can expect the storm. So you definitely want to take your precautions now. Get into your safe place as this storm is moving into your location. It's also putting out some ping pong ball size hail, so the hail rather large with the storm, and you can expect wind gust over 60 miles per hour, and of course the locally heavy rain. We saw dew points in the 60s here in these counties earlier today, so a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and no doubt these storms will be putting out some of that heavy rain here tonight.
And again, we're looking at our hail product here, and we're putting a query on that. It shows the hail size at 1.5 inches. And that's a pretty consistent level that we've been getting in here for the past 5 to 15 minutes. So there certainly is some large hail, and that now appears to be just to the east of Wachir and a little bit northwest of Sigourney. And the hail signature itself seems to be moving pretty much due east there. We'll put it back a little bit and drag it east, and there it goes, cutting along and north of about 92 there between Sigourney and Washington. And so it's advancing east and hasn't shown any signs of really weakening there. I'm not sure who's directing us right now, but I was wondering if you can do this. It's something to think about. If you can put a picture-in-picture here so that we can see the stream and also do some tracking on the radar here, that would be something that would be pretty cool. So we'll see if we can get that functional here in just a second. and we'll go back to the actual reflectivity mode. And this is where you can see where the heavy rain is occurring. And it does look a little notchy there just to the northwest of Sigourney. So it's a very healthy cell. It is rotating. It is a supercell and has the potential of producing severe weather, large hail winds, and perhaps a tornado as it moves on through Keokuk County.
And it's all along a kind of a stationary front. This front has been just kind of draped over the area within the last day or so, and it's just kind of south of Cedar Rapids towards Iowa City, and then it does extend further to the southwest there into Keokuk County and back into southern Iowa, where there is a tornado watch, not in our viewing area, but down into southern Iowa into northern Missouri. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for some of our southern counties. Keokuk, Washington County, you're in that, as well as Jones County, Cedar County in that severe thunderstorm watch until 11. So these thunderstorms, although they're not, supercell discrete thunderstorms, certainly these thunderstorms and this line here can pose a tornadic risk, and we're seeing that right now with this rotation embedded here in this line of storms.
Hey, I have Jennifer on the phone, and Jennifer lives near Keswick. Hey, Jennifer, this is Terry Swails. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Could you tell us what you experienced as the storm passed through there in the past 15 minutes?
Just a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and just kind of dark.
No hail that you're aware of?
No, we have not seen any hail yet.
Okay, we could see on our radars there that it looked like there was some hail pretty close, but it might have passed north or south of you. But you did see some wind. Any idea on how strong the gusts were?
We live on the top of the hill out in the country, and we have wind all the time.
Yeah.
So, it was quite a bit of wind.
Pretty stiff breeze then, maybe 40, 50 miles an hour, something on that order?
Yeah, probably. It looks like we've got some siding off of our house, actually.
Well, then it might have even been a little bit stronger than that if you lost a little bit of siding there. Is that the only damage you've witnessed?
Yep, so far.
All right. Anything you want to tell us here about the storm other than that?
I don't think so.
All right. It was a fast mover, though, wasn't it? Went through pretty quick?
Yeah, it was.
How about rainfall? Did you get a lot of that?
Yeah, we've got some puddles in our field, so yeah.
All right. Well, it was a good rain. Everybody needed a little bit of that, so there's the plus, I guess.
Yes, we sure did.
All right, Jennifer. I appreciate you checking in with us tonight. Stay safe down there.
Yep, thank you, too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brandon, did they cut back some of the warning there? It looks like they might have sliced it back a little bit on the west end. It doesn't look like it's back to watch here now. I think it was there before.
It looks like they might have cut it. They haven't put out a new report on any, at least as far as the warning is, as if they were cutting it back or even extending it, but I do see what you're talking about there. They still do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Keokuk County as well until 7:30.
Okay. All right. Just wondered if you saw anything on that, because it does look to me like they've chipped it back just a little bit there. The core of the storm now is located straight north of Sigourney there by about 5-6 miles. It's already passed southeast of Keswick there, and we certainly know for a fact they had some strong winds. And on the scan that just came through there, you might be able to see that there's also a little bit of hail as well. Nick, did you hear me? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Nick. Okay, we're going to go back then to our Nick Stewart, who is out in the field chasing the storm. I'm going to put the GPS on here so that you can actually see where he is located in relation to the storm. And there he is now. I don't know if he's moving. He'll tell us that in just a second, but he's about to move into the area in Keokuk County where we have the severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning. So, Nick, what can you see out there?
Hey, Terry. Yeah, we're closing in pretty quick. There's definitely a lot of low-hanging clouds with the storm. Actually, we're starting to get maybe a little bit of a better visual of the area of interest. We're going to kind of spin the camera just a little bit to kind of see that. It'll be right now on the left side of your screen. I'm going to bring it over a little bit more. So near the center part of your screen, that is your wall cloud. There is a wall cloud with this storm. We're still a pretty good distance away to determine if it's really rotating or not. The view from us is still a little obscured. It's pretty wrapped in rain. But visually speaking, the storm has gotten a lot more impressive just because we're more on top of it. It does have a lot of indications of some fairly large hail with the storm, just with how dark the core of the storm is. You can also see a big shelf cloud on the leading edge of the storm, which is an indication of some pretty strong winds. So the storm is definitely not one to mess around with. And again, at the center part of your screen, that is the wall cloud. That is your area of interest. It is definitely a storm that is intimidating and is at least showing signs of tornadic potential. We cannot see any visual tornado with it, and again, we're still just a little bit too far away to see if it's rotating or not. But if you're kind of like a weather nerd, I mean, you can kind of see some of the features. The wall cloud, that's the lowering of the cloud there. You have what's called an inflow tail. There's a few clouds to the right side of that wall cloud that's kind of going from right to left into it. That's kind of showing that not only is it a strong storm, but it's also a strengthening storm. It's still pulling in some of the rich moisture and the warm, unstable air that we're in right now.
You see any signs of curtains from this distance? It kind of looks like there might be some near the wall cloud itself there.
Yeah, I gotta say, through video, you can see it a lot better through the our screen as opposed to seeing it through the eye. It kind of helps with the contrast a little bit. There's definitely something interesting going on down there, but we cannot visually see if there's a tornado or anything on the ground at this moment.
Another question for you. You talked about might be rain wrapped. That's what we call an HP supercell, high precipitation. And when that happens, the tornado can be inside the actual rain. You cannot visually see it. So why don't you explain a little bit about HP supercells if you can?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's what we call it. It's obviously the dew points here are very, very high, and so the environment itself has a lot of moisture involved with it. And when you have all this precipitation in an area very close to where the storm is rotating, that it's all just kind of being wrapped around that circulation. So all of that heavy precipitation ends up kind of getting pulled towards the area of interest and begins spinning. I gotta tell you, within the last about 2 minutes, oh my goodness, that is a very impressive wall cloud. That's very, very intense, I gotta say. Again, visually, no evidence of a tornado, but you can see from the tractor in front of us, the dust is blowing straight into that storm. The wall cloud, it does appear to be rotating. Actually, now it does look like there's a little bit of spin with it. No tornado on the ground that we can see at the moment, but it's definitely strong and definitely something that is we're going to keep a very close eye on. We're going to be turning right here in about half a mile to be heading north, and you'll be looking right into it here in just a minute.
And we can see where you are here on the actual radar. You're down in the right-hand corner of the screen here, so it looks like you'll be heading towards Highway 159 there in Keokuk County.
Yeah, we're just heading north from Harper here in just 1 second.
So what are your plans as far as following the storm here? You want to stay on the south edge of it, I'm sure.
Yes, we're actually going to pull over right here, and we're going to watch it kind of pass right in front of us. We have a great visual. This right here is good. We have a great visual. I'm going to spin the camera here. There you go. And again, I mean, that's very, very clear evidence of a very strong wall cloud with this storm. But again, no evidence of rotation at this moment.
All right, so we're video back up here. Looking very dark, that's for sure. And we can see the feature that you're talking about, the wall cloud itself. From our distance, it's hard to see much in the way of rotation on here. If it is rotating, and you think it is, apparently not particularly fast. And that is a pretty tough looking storm there. I am sure anybody in northern Keokuk County now is going to see some very strong winds and perhaps some large hail, and hopefully not a tornado, but we certainly have the reasons to think that one could be developing or is very close to developing in Keokuk County. Brandon, any reports coming in on the chat? Anything new there?
Still no reports. Everything that I'm seeing is obviously from Nick there in the field. That wall cloud, the rotation where he is, just north of Harper. But it is showing the core is looking pretty like it's wrapping up pretty good there as far as hail goes. So I'd imagine some decent sized hail is coming down. We did get the National Weather Service did put out in the report of at least ping pong ball size hail can be expected with this storm system, and as well as torrential rain and some frequent lightning with the storm, as the warning is in effect until 7:30 here for Keokuk County.
All right, we're just getting a little bit closer in on the radar here. And what you can see here in the reds are winds that are blowing in one direction. The greens, a little bit to the southwest of there, are actually blowing in the opposite direction. So that's the rotation that Nick is currently seeing out in the field, and that area of rotation that could produce a tornado And at this point, that has now moved off to the east of Keswick, is between there, maybe a little bit south of there, and off to the northeast is South English. So it does appear that the rotation is going to come pretty close to South English. I know Nick is now getting out to 159 there off to the southeast, and they're going to ride it out there as the storm advances east towards them. Looks like it'll pass just to the north, so we should have some good visuals on that. Is there anything new we can show you out of that? There you go. And once again, there's the dark skies that are out there. It's getting to that point now where everything probably would be pretty rain-wrapped. Is Nick still available? Can we talk to him? Hey, Nick, we're coming back to you there. Just wanted to know what you've seen. You got any lightning strikes, cloud to ground, anything like that?
Yeah, the lightning activity is definitely starting to increase as we're kind of right up on it. I mean, it's almost like a constant roar of thunder. It does appear the storm is weakening just a tad. It might be what's called cycling. Yeah, basically, it's kind of going through a process where it was really strong. It's going to start kind of getting itself reorganized and then maybe making a second attempt to get better organized here. So right now, we're not looking at too much in the way of what's happening at this minute. There's definitely still kind of some low-hanging clouds, with the wall clouds kind of losing its characteristics just a little bit. But sitting at the storm, I mean, we're still getting a nice south wind blowing right into the storm. So there's definitely still signs that the storm is trying to kind of get its act together yet again. But again, from what we can say, there's no tornado on the ground at the moment, but it's definitely rotating. There's definitely at least a wall cloud with the storm at the moment.
And actually, on the newest scan here, it does look like it's tightened up a little bit. Our gate-to-gate shear on it is up to 43 miles an hour now, and that's the highest that we've seen to this point. And you can see a little more color here where the actual couplet would be located. So that's now just to the west of South English, and with the storm moving to the east, it's going to come pretty darn close to South English. We're going to get in a little bit closer on that right now. There you can see South English itself, and it would be just to the west of there, maybe a mile or so, where the rotation is at its strongest and moving off in an easterly direction right along Highway 22. So if you're in South English, it is certainly time to be taking shelter. This is a very strong thunderstorm here with the potential of a tornado, and most certainly some high winds and some hail will be occurring in some areas. Brandon, anything you need to add?
Still seeing no reports of anything confirmed, nothing new from what Nick has been telling us here within the last 5 or 10 minutes. Of course, this is still putting out some hail, about ping pong ball size, frequent lightning and heavy rain as this does continue to track to about the east-northeast, right around South English. You can kind of see that there. And then looks like it'll pass just to the north, maybe northwest of Kinross as well, before it does move closer to the Wellman area here in about the next 20 or 30 minutes. But this warning does go until 7:30 here for about another 10 minutes, and then we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do with it from then on.
Also, I'm going back to our hail product here, which shows where there's a very strong likelihood of hail. South English is off to the east there, and we'll back this up a little bit, and you can see the hail core is advancing in an easterly direction, and it has definitely expanded a little bit here. So just to the west-southwest of South English, maybe 2 miles or so, is where some of the larger hail is currently occurring, and what's there looks like it's moving in an easterly direction, and we still think it's around 20 to 25 miles an hour. So not overly fast, but on a steady pace as it continues through Keokuk County. Rebecca Kopelman is also in the studio with us tonight. Rebecca, how are you doing?
Yes, I am doing fine. We have not gotten a lot of information, as Brandon has been saying. I did want to mention we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, though, for Iowa, Johnson counties, and parts of Washington County, that one right up there.
Yeah.
If we wanted to touch base on that really quick.
We definitely do. That's important to note. So this would be Iowa City. That's definitely involved in that too. Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty. That's a pretty heavily populated area. There you can see Tiffin there, and there is Iowa City. So we'll back it up just a little bit, and there you can see the actual warning. And it looks like that's till 8:15 tonight. But that is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. A big distinction there. As far as precip goes, in these cores over here, no doubt it's raining pretty darn hard. I would expect to see some places with 1 to 2 inches of rain out of these cells, and since they extend all the way back to the southwest, if they continue to train over some general area, we're going to see some big rainfall totals, and that potential certainly exists tonight as these storms are now going all the way back into southwestern Iowa. But getting back to our tornado warning, there is the cell that's going to produce the severe weather in Keokuk County. You can clearly see in the pink where the hail is located there. And if Nick is back in the field, let's see if we can't get another picture out of him and see what's going on. You guys are moving, Nick?
Hey, sorry, Terry. Yeah, we're heading back east, heading basically now northeast of Harper. We're kind of getting on the back side of it, so we're starting to lose a little bit of the contrast. We're losing some of the better picture of it. So we're going to try and race back east towards Keota on the far northeastern side of Keokuk County, try and get a better visual of it. Looking at it right now, though, doesn't look as intense as it did when we first got on it. The wall cloud's kind of losing some of its characteristics. Not really as evident rotation. It looks like it's kind of getting a little bit more grungy. The clouds are kind of coming a little bit more disorganized, which is very good news for the folks in the path of this. We're going to kind of keep a very close eye on it. We're going to roll east towards Keota and keep up with this and see what else it can do. The biggest problem with this storm is that it's going to be basically paralleling a boundary, and when these storms kind of do very interesting things when they kind of latch onto these boundaries and kind of keep moving with them. That's kind of what can help enhance the tornadic activity, and that's why, you know, the north was so much cooler today than the south, where it's definitely a very definite boundary that's set up along the area, and this storm is essentially riding right along that.
And at this point, then, are you going back south on 159?
We are now heading east, and I believe this is 220th Street.
220th. I see 200th, but not 220, but I'm sure it's out there. We got to get in a little closer to find it. All right. But you're still in Keokuk County then, right? You're not far off, though, from the Washington County border, I would assume.
Yeah, we are far northeastern Keokuk County. We're sitting right now between about Harper and Keota on 200th Street. 200th Street.
Okay, I see Harper here. There's Keota. So you're still well south of the storm, and you haven't seen any rain or anything like that where you've been so far?
We've been staying south of the core of the storm. We don't want to mess with the hail and the heavy precip, so we've been trying to stay south of all of that. And this is where you can kind of get a better view, is to the south of the storm.
Yeah, and that's something we'll talk a bit about too. When you're chasing, you always want to try and stay in the clear air. You don't want to come in from the north, because that's where the heavy rain and the hail will be located. And sometimes that can occur even further south with the tornado, but in your case, I can see you're just kind of hugging the area where the precip is not occurring, which is going to give you a lot better sight, and it keeps you out of the hail. Many chasers punch through that, and I've seen a lot of windows broken in situations like that.
So we're going to probably switch back north. I think we're starting to get out ahead of the rotation again. I just want to confirm with you, we're kind of having a little bit of data issues in terms of getting our radar updates.
Okay.
But would you confirm that the area of rotation looks like it's between Harper and South English?
Based on what I'm seeing now, it looks like it'd be between South English and Kinross. That's probably where I'm seeing, maybe a little northwest of Kinross. So you're well south of that, southwest of it.
Gotcha. All right, we're spinning around. Let me fix the camera here in a second.
And so where's Kinross from you? To the north, northwest?
There's a lower third, so don't stick it up that high.
Looks like. Apparently there's...
So we are just on the north end of Keota, heading north towards Kinross. We're kind of getting a little bit of a better visual on the area of interest now that we're heading north, and it doesn't look nearly as impressive as it did. It looks like it's losing some of those characteristics of, you know, that rotating wall cloud. It's still tornado warned, so definitely treat it like there is a possible tornado with this storm, but just visually looking at it, the area of circulation is also probably now heavily wrapped in the rain, so it's becoming almost impossible to kind of see it visually at this point in time as well.
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second here. It appears that we do have a new tornado warning that's been issued. Rebecca, what do you have on that?
It's been for Johnson and Washington County. They're watching the rotation just north of Wellman there. So that is until 8:15 now. New tornado warning, and that is including Kelowna there. And yeah, it looks like just north of Wellman is where the rotation is.
Yeah, you can clearly see right along that road there. I can't even read it. Jinko Avenue, it appears to me, but very, very close to that. And we do have some respectable circulation there, pretty decent couplet. And so that's the reason we've got ourselves a brand new tornado warning. That'll be out for parts of Johnson and Washington counties until 8:15 tonight. And Brandon, if you can just punch up the warning itself, we'll be able to show our viewers more about where the actual tornado potential would exist in Johnson and Washington counties. And there you go. So Iowa City is just a little covered up there. If you can pull it down a little bit. Okay, and there you can see where Iowa City is. So it's a little southwest of there, probably just south of Tiffin or Clear Creek, that general region. And then you get down further towards Riverside and Kelowna. That's an area that would be involved in the warning, which will be out now until 8:15 tonight. So far, no confirmed tornadoes anywhere in eastern Iowa, but this new spin up here, which is located just to the north of Wellman, was the reason the new tornado warning has been issued. Rebecca, you got anything on your end over there that's worth passing along?
We have not gotten really anything here. They're just watching, the Weather Service is saying they're just watching the strong rotation now in southwest Johnson County, and they have not really gotten any other reports at the moment. So one other thing is that the other storm we were watching down to the southwest, the rotation does seem to be weakening a bit there, so that's some good news.
And I'm putting a pointer on here, and this is about where I would think the center of the circulation is located there. So there's a little town called Amish, and then there's Wellman, and it looks like it would be a little bit southwest of Amish and then straight north of Wellman. So I would say Wellman is out of the woods here, but if you're up in the area of around Amish or Sharon Center or just north of Kelowna there, this is the time to be seeking shelter. Pretty good storm developing there, and likely that is also going to produce some large hail. And we will take a look at our echo tops here too, just to get an idea of how high the storm tops are. And there you can see just to the northwest of Amish, some of the storm tops probably going to be in the order of 45, 50,000 feet. That says 46,000. That's a very hefty sized thunderstorm, but a little less than what we were seeing earlier as the storm was over around Wachir. Brendan, anything on the NWS chat? Have they mentioned anything over that way?
I have not seen anything. There is, let's see, what are you saying?
Expired the tornado warning for Keokuk.
Okay, yeah, Keokuk County, the tornado warning has expired. So that's good news for that location. But as far as the new warning, looking at hail of about 1 inch in diameter, which will put about a quarter-size hail. Also, nothing confirmed as far as tornado, it is just radar indicated, and that is until 8:15 for Johnson and Washington County.
And if you're in Johnson County, it looks like it's going to be the southern half of Johnson County. It does not include the city of Iowa City, North Liberty, or Coralville. Those are very heavily populated areas. So it looks like it's staying just a little bit southwest of there, about where our front is stalled out, real close to the Iowa City region and back down to about Williamsburg. And that's dividing much cooler air to the north and drier air to the warm, humid stuff that was found across the southern part of our viewing area today. And that's the fuel that's generating tonight's thunderstorms themselves. So getting back down into our velocity mode here and checking back down towards Kelowna and Wellman, that's the area where we were looking at the circulation a bit ago. Nick, if you're still with us, would love to see some pictures and hear what you're seeing out there right now. I can hear him talking anyway. There he is. There's a picture. And
Hey, Terry, sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. Are you heading up into Keokuk County still, or are you going to the other cell, or are you staying on the one you were on?
Yeah, our current target, we're plotting for Riverside. We're going to try and get to Riverside, so we're going to try and get off these gravel roads and start heading back east here. We're going to be hopping on this major highway here, which would be close to Highway 92. It's a highway that parallels Highway 92. And then we're going to try and head and get into that Washington County storm. Again, we're aiming for Riverside. We're going to try and get there before the storm does.
And you can actually see in the picture you're looking at right there the striations and the circular component to the structure of the storm. I mean, you can clearly see that it's rotating, and that would be what you would classify as a supercell thunderstorm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a powerful storm. I mean, based on the lightning, the amount of precipitation that's falling with it, the fact, we were able to see that wall cloud live very clearly are all indications that this is a pretty powerful line of storm. And I do want to make note that the storm that we are on now is no longer tornado warned, nor is it severe thunderstorm warned. That's all now to our northeast. So areas in northern Washington County, as well as southern Johnson County, those are the people that need to keep an eye out. Areas like Kelowna down to Riverside up to Hills and just southwest of Iowa City. Again, that's where we're heading. So we're going to try and catch back up with the storm as it kind of leapfrogged us.
And we're going to go back to the radar now just for a second. I want to show people where you are in relation to the actual storm. And you can see right down there it says Nick Stewart. You got your name on the radar, Nick. And you're to the southwest of the storm, which now is advancing east to the north of you, all part of a big line of thunderstorms that's running all the way from southeastern Iowa back into the southwestern part of the state. And there's your picture there. So clearly we can see where you are in relation to the storm, and you're well south of that from what I've been able to gather. Obviously, there's a bit of a delay, too, between Nick and myself here, so sometimes we're not sure whether he's able to hear us or not, but the bottom line is we're keeping a close tab on it thanks to the live stream which he is sending out to us. So just to recap right now, we do have a new tornado warning that has been out now for parts of Johnson and Washington counties, and that'll be in effect until 8:15 tonight. And is the other one canceled then? At 7:30 it was, right?
Yeah, the tornado warning for Keokuk County has expired. They are not continuing that one. The main focal point storm now is the one that is just kind of hugging the Johnson County and Washington County line. I did see a report on Twitter that sirens were going off in Iowa City, although Iowa City is not in the tornado warning polygon, but is the severe thunderstorm warning polygon, which does continue for Johnson County.
And it appears right now the part of the storm that's strongest is pretty close to Amish there. And so that is southwest of Sharon Center. And then northeast of that is where Iowa City is located. So we're certainly getting some rotation there, but no confirmed tornadoes, despite the fact that we do have a tornado warning in effect for parts of Johnson and northern Washington counties. So that is the good news, but the storm is still a very strong one, has a lot of ingredients to work with tonight. And I honestly think that tomorrow should be even better day for tornadoes across the southern half of our viewing area. The parameters there look to be even better than today. So that's another bridge we'll cross when we get there. But I don't think we're done with severe weather yet. Our southern counties will get it good here during the evening hours, and then tomorrow will break before more storms arrive later in the afternoon. And you can see on the latest scan here, a little more yellow showing up in the center part of your screen there, right about in here. And so that is where our circulation is currently located, and that is now to the southwest of Sharon Center. So if you're in Sharon Center, strong thunderstorm coming your way with the potential of a tornado. So take that one seriously. It is pretty impressive looking on the radar right now. One last thing too, I wouldn't mind showing you the hail product if I can find it. There it is. And we'll see what we got for hail. And there to the west of Sharon Center over towards Amish is where some of the larger hail would be occurring. We'll do a query on this here. And size-wise, it's about 1.1 inches is what it's indicating. Usually the hail product a little bit on the high side, so probably a little less than that. But that's still some pretty good hail. And it looks like that'll be heading towards Sharon Center and maybe up towards Tiffin as the storm moves to the northeast in the next 15 minutes or so. And now we're taking you to Iowa City, the Skycam there. and we'll be able to show you what it's looking like in Iowa City. And at this point, they're still a ways away from the storm, so things are getting dark. You can see the lightning in the distance, but hard to get any of the real features of the clouds there. But Nick is on that, and he'll be approaching that area from the southwest. And a pretty impressive lightning on. Let me take a look at that, too. We'll be able to punch that up here. And there you can see all the strikes. And where you actually see the bolts on there, those are positive strikes. And the other ones there are more cloud to cloud. And so this thing is really electrical in terms of its ability to produce lightning. And that's why you can see from Iowa City to the west-southwest, a lot of lightning flashing there. And so that's another concern with these types of storms. More people are killed by lightning than anything else with this severe weather. So you want to be respectful of what you're seeing in terms of the lightning there tonight. And undoubtedly, there's going to be some very heavy rain in a short period of time. Dew points are well into the 60s tonight. A lot of moisture for this time of the year. Brandon, anything?
We did get a report of some small hail in South English from the storm that passed through Keokuk County within the last several minutes. Also a power pull down just north of Watcheer. We were talking about that, that tornado warned storm earlier as well in Keokuk County. So that did put a power pull down just north of Watcheer. Not exactly sure where, but that's anything I'm seeing across the chat now as far as any damage or anything related to that storm in Keokuk County. But nothing as far as the one right now, which we have a tornado warning until 8:15 for Johnson and Washington County. Still nothing confirmed with that storm.
And we're just kind of running the radar back in time a little bit here. And you can see how this is advancing to the northeast. And it looks like it's taking a bead right now on Iowa City. So I would expect the strongest part of the storm there to be in the Iowa City area within the next 5 to 10 minutes. You may get a little bit of a hail there and also some significant rain before the core of the storm comes on over you. But the hardest area that right now looks like on the radar anyway, the best intensities, would be right out to the west of Johnson County there in the southwestern corner of Johnson County where you see some of those pinks. And that area is working its way northeast and heading towards North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City. We're going back to Iowa City now for some pictures. And we're just scanning around the skies there. A lot of lightning flashing. Things are darkening up in Iowa City with the storm approaching from the southwest. A lot of lightning, though. And where's Nick? Anybody tell me where Nick is currently located? Apparently no contact with Nick. There must be them.
Hey Terry, sorry. We're on our way. We're back eastbound through about central Washington County. We're almost straight north of Washington. We're kind of playing a game of catch-up, trying to get back to that tornado-warned storm. Again, that strongest rotation now, it looks like to be like north of Kelowna, now entering southern Johnson County. So we're kind of racing to try and get out ahead of that. Of course, I'm not driving, by the way. I'm safely, we have a driver, Zim's my great driver here. He's been guiding us along today. So I'm able to kind of focus on talking and dealing with the radar. But again, we are south of that tornado-warned storm. If you do have the video up, you're kind of looking into the heart of that tornado-warned storm. We're still on the back side of it, so you're not going to be able to get a great view of what's going on, but there's definitely some low-hanging clouds. Visually, from our perspective, we're not seeing a lot in the way of rotation, but again, I mean, we're still a pretty good distance away. I would say we're probably at least 15 miles away from the heart of this storm, and we do have some rain that continues to block our view as well, because that rotation is kind of so enveloped in rain. It's such a rain-wrapped storm, and that's going to be a big concern as we go through the evening tonight, especially as we start losing daylight, is that if there is a tornado on the ground with this, it becomes just so difficult to actually see it. So if you are in the tornado warning polygon, I would highly advise you to take your tornado precautions because you will not see it until it's basically right on top of you.
And we're going to get back in on the radar here a little bit just to show you where Nick is actually located. And you'll be able to see with the pointer here at the bottom of the screen that I'm moving around. That's where Nick's vehicle is. and he's well south of the storm right now, but once he hits Highway 1, he'll be able to cut up to the north and come in from the south there. So it looks like they're making pretty good progress. Once they get on over to Highway 1, they'll be able to shoot right in here, and that'll give them good access to the storm, which, as you can see, is producing a lot of lightning. And right about in this area here, where I'm going to go into now with our velocity mode, is where we would still have the potential of a tornado. And you can kind of see those bright oranges in there. Right about in this region over here is where I would say the best circulation is, and that's keeping it just to the southwest of Iowa City now, and it continues to push northeast. We do want to stress there has not been any confirmed tornadoes, despite the fact we have a tornado warning in effect for northern Washington and southern Johnson counties.
The storm is moving rather slow, about 20 miles per hour to the east. Last check, roughly 13 miles southwest of Iowa City, right around Sharon Center is where the rotation is. It's going to be close to Riverside, the Hills location here in about the next 20 to 30 minutes. And as you did mention, Terry, no confirmed tornado. This is all radar indicated, definitely putting down some heavy rain, frequent lightning. You've been seeing that, as well as some about quarter-size hail. We did have reports of ping pong ball-size hail from the one in Keokuk County earlier.
I'm going to get you a bigger view here. We just wanted to give you an idea of what is happening here tonight. And there is a front that just laid out, I would say from about Dubuque to near Cedar Rapids and then all the way into the southwestern corner of Iowa. And you can see all the thunderstorms that are currently in that general area. And with the boundaries staying in place here, storms will likely move along that as we go through the overnight hours. So the southeastern half of our viewing area is likely going to see some very significant rains tonight. 1 to 3 inches looks to be a pretty good bet. And where some of these thunderstorms train, perhaps a little bit more than that. And these storms will likely weaken after sunset. That's when the temperatures will cool some. So the severe weather threat should go down a little bit, but there's still some respectable parameters tonight. So severe thunderstorms, a good possibility, at least until 10 o'clock tonight. And then hopefully things will go down just a little bit in terms of the intensities after that. But really, most of the activity has been down in far southern Iowa, and our southern counties, that is. And right now we're still focused in on that area just to the southwest of Iowa City. And as we go in closer here, I'm going to take another velocity scan and get you in closer on that. And there's things are tightening up just a little bit there, it looks to me. We're going to go in slightly closer on that. And I'll get my pointer out here right in there. There's Highway 1. And we think Nick is probably getting pretty close to that now. So he'll be coming right up to Highway 1 and should be able to come in on the backside. But here's the point. There's Iowa City right up in this area here. And that circulation continues to move northeast. So it's going to go into a heavily populated area. And there's the picture from Iowa City now showing some very vivid lightning there. And again, with lightning like this, especially some cloud-to-ground lightning, that indicates to us the storm is holding its intensity and perhaps maybe gaining a little bit of steam as it moves to the northeast towards the Iowa City area. Let's get you a better view of Iowa City. Go in tighter here. And there you can see Iowa City. And off to the west, of course, is where you've got Coralville. And then a little west of there is Tiffin and places like that. So the Iowa City metro area not quite involved in the storm just yet, but that is going to happen here shortly as this all works its way in that general direction. But there's where we're most concerned. Just to the west-southwest of Sharon Center is where we have some strong rotation, and that is where, if there's going to be a tornado, it would likely occur. And that new scan that just came in there looks a little bit more impressive. Want to get in slightly tighter on that. You can see right about in there. Yeah, we're up to 58 miles per hour on the shear, which is by far the strongest gate-to-gate shear that we have seen tonight. So this thing has revved up a little bit now, and it's still on its track to the northeast, which will take it real close to Iowa City. But right about in this area here is where there would be the possibility of a tornado, and that's not too far off from Sharon Center. Brandon?
Still nothing coming across the chat as far as anything new that we, something that we haven't reported in the last several minutes. So But like you said, looking at the velocities, the rotation has tightened up a little bit just around Sharon Center. It is moving about 20 miles per hour to the east, northeast, going to be around Hills here within about the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Once again, we'll get the view in here of Iowa City a little bit better and where it is in relation to the storm, and we'll put this into motion some so you can kind of see where it's headed. Looks like the circulation will probably go just a little bit south of downtown Iowa City, but the southern portions of Iowa City certainly in line for this storm, and Hills right now appears to be in an area of concern, but Sharon Center, you're going to be taking the brunt of this here pretty shortly. And just going to reflectivity, we'll see what the hail scenario looks like, and there's a pretty good chunk of hail there west of Sharon Center. And we'll go to our hail product here and be able to do a little query on that too. That's also increased a bit, and there you can see some of the hail as large as 1.3 inches in diameter. And we're back now to Nick, who continues to track the storm from the south.
Hey, Terry, I mean, you can see visually that's very, very impressive. It's definitely what we call striated, which means there's definitely some rotation ongoing with this storm. If there's any rotation going on, it's completely wrapped in rain. Yeah, follow it right here. We're going to lose a visual here. We're trying to change the camera to follow it here. But again, we're going to continue to move off. We're heading towards Riverside. That's ultimately where we're trying to get to. Then head north from there. But the storm is definitely showing signs of rotation. It's a very ominous looking storm, that's for sure. We're trying to get just ahead of the storm, but it's definitely very, very ominous. If there's anything on the ground, which, again, we have no confirmations of, it would be heavily wrapped in rain.
And I don't know if you were listening earlier, but we were getting a tighter couplet on the storm. It had increased to a gate-to-gate share of around 60 miles per hour. So it has been revving up a little bit, Nick. And if you get up into the Hills area, it looks like it's going to pass very close to Hills, which is just south of Iowa City.
Yep, and I mean, like I said, visually speaking, it's very, very impressive. We're about to have a good visual here again as we make this turn back to the north. We're basically straight south of Kelowna and Riverside. We're kind of heading up towards the Riverside area right now. There's that storm. I mean, you can see just visually speaking, it's very, very impressive.
And I've got you back on the
Definitely
GPS.
a sign that the storm is rotating.
And I'm just showing the viewers right now where you are in relation to the storm. So there's Riverside there, and just to the southwest is where your vehicle is. And I know you'll be cutting on over and up here and should come in just to the south of Riverside there. And then you're going to be looking about where it should go towards Hills if it continues to hold together here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So you're in a good position to attack it right now. But I want to show you the pictures once again. These are pretty captivating, some ugly looking stuff there. Nick's stream still rolling? If it is, let's put it up, please. Okay, excellent. There you go. And you can just see the wall cloud, the lowering there, the striations that are in it, also some curtains hanging down there. So that's the entire mesocyclone or supercell that continues to rotate around now just to the southwest of Hills, having passed pretty close to Sharon Center. And this will be approaching the southern metro area of Iowa City as we go through the next 15-20 minutes or so. Rebecca, have you had any reports or seen anything come in?
I have seen some people saying they've been losing their cable. I did want to mention we're live on Facebook right now. So if you do lose your cable or your power, you can get it on your phone if you go to KGAN CBS 2 on Facebook. And this whole live stream is right there. Someone earlier did say they were hearing the sirens in North Liberty, which happens because Johnson County, the whole sirens are going off. This is south of North Liberty. Just wanted to let you know of that. But Iowa City, as Terry's been mentioning, is in the line as this storm could get pretty close to Iowa City or just south of Iowa City there.
And we have also got a picture here from Jennifer in Keokuk. And this is what the storm is looking like to her. So when we can get that up here, we'll be able to show that to you. And there it is, approaching way back in the southwest there. And again, looking pretty ominous, but Keokuk definitely experiencing the storm earlier on tonight. And now that it's moving off to the northeast, it is approaching the southern parts of Iowa City. Looks like Hills is going to be very close to the most significant part of the storm. And one more view here. I'm just going to get you in a little bit closer with my pointer here so I can show you where our circulation is most likely going to be. Probably somewhere in this general area right here, a little bit to the east now of Sharon Center. And based on the track, it looks like it's going to take it south of downtown Iowa City, but it is still going to impact the extreme southern portions of the metro area, and likely there's going to be some very gusty winds, potentially some hail, and we still have the threat of a circulation that could produce a tornado between Hills and Sharon Center, moving off in an east-northeast direction. And if we can get back to Nick's picture too, it's always nice to see what he's got out there. He's coming in just to the south of the actual storm itself. And I'm going to peck. And we do have a brand new tornado warning that has been issued. Where is this for, Rebecca?
This is for Cedar and Johnson County, so that's extending this warning further to the east.
All right, so essentially what they're thinking is that the storm is going to track on across northern Washington, southern Johnson counties, and then work its way onto the east. And so that's why you got your new warning out for Cedar and parts of Muscatine counties. And
Iowa City is included in that now.
right, right. So I still think it looks like the worst of the core is passing just south of Iowa City, just south of Interstate 80 there, but a very healthy and impressive looking storm in the Iowa City area. And I don't know, Nick, if you can get your shot back of Iowa City, be curious to see what that's looking like as well. There you go. Nick himself is located just to the south. There you can see the lower base of the storm itself. And there's probably some gust waves, and there's another shot of Iowa City. Things are going downhill real fast in the Iowa City. Just look at the lightning, continuous. Very impressive.
In Hills, we have a report of, in Hills, of 1.3 inches of rain. Torrential downpours coming there, and hail up to quarter size.
Okay. And just going then to our hail product, we'll give you an idea of the larger hail a little bit west of Hills, but with hail oftentimes our programs run a little bit behind, so this is probably slightly east of what it's showing there, but that blue is where the largest hail is currently indicated, and it looks like that's going to be passing towards Hills between there and Iowa City as the whole cell evolves and moves off to the east. And that sort of triangular area in red here is where our brand new tornado warning is in effect. So that does include the Iowa City metro area, goes all the way up to West Branch and West Liberty and pretty close to Lone Tree, and then on towards Hills where the storm is currently located. So we have that tornado warning now in effect for that part of our viewing area, and that's out until 8:45 tonight. And there's another view of the actual circulation, which would be right about in this area here. And if, yeah, there's our view of Iowa City again. Storm moving right in there, going to be cutting right across Iowa City, with the strongest part of it looking like it's going to go through the southern sections of the city itself. But very prolific lightning, to say the least. I'm also going to go to base velocity mode here. Sometimes this gives us a pretty good idea where the strongest winds are. It usually does anyway. And right in this section, right in here, is where I would expect some wind gusts of at least 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour. So that's an area of concern, and that would extend from Iowa City back down to Riverside and Hills, and then off to the east of there is where that likely would occur. And you can kind of see in this region right here, just to the northwest of Hills, where we would still have some rotation potential, and that could produce a tornado. If Nick is out in the field with his camera, we'd be interested in seeing what he's got too. And there he comes in. Nick, can you hear me out there? And if so, what are you seeing?
Hey, Terry. Yeah, we're just southwest of Riverside. You're looking to the core of the storm. That's where any tornado would be. We're starting to get on the back side of the storm, getting into what's called the RFD, or rear flank downdraft. We're getting some pretty strong wind gusts from the west. It's kind of wrapping around the back side of the storm. Again, visually, It's too wrapped in rain to see anything. We're still not in the best spot to see anything, but we are trying to get back out ahead of this storm. Definitely significant amount of lightning with this storm. As it continues to move off to the east, the core of it, you can kind of tell by the discoloration there. Definitely a lot of precipitation, if not definitely probably some hail falling in the heavier core of the storm. Just based on the discoloration of the sky, you're starting to see that kind of greenish tint, which is an indication of maybe some hail. And it looks like we're going to try and fix the picture 1 second. We're kind of dealing with a few technical issues, and at the moment, we're going to try and get that picture back up for you.
All right. Well, we do know that there was some hail indicated around Hills, which is just south of Iowa City. And you see my cursor there moving around. That's where Nick is currently located out in the chase vehicle. And you can see directly north of him is where the core of the storm is actually located. So we still have our tornado warnings out for the area that is located just to the east of the storm itself. Right now, our couplet not as defined as it was a little bit earlier, but I'm sure that this area from about Iowa City down through Hills, right about in here, is likely going to experience some strong winds, perhaps 40 to 60 miles per hour as the storm advances across the southern parts of Johnson County. And then from there, it'll be heading into Cedar County and northwest Muscatine counties, where we currently do have tornado warnings in effect as well until 8:45 tonight. So very stout storm there south of Iowa City, extremely high parameters for thunderstorms today, especially for this time of year. Our dew points were well into the 60s, and the temperatures reached into the 80s around Iowa City and Washington today, and that's the instability that drives these thunderstorms. And with a boundary now and some upper air moving along that energy, it has sparked some of the thunderstorms that continue to be found around parts of southern Iowa. And just going back to reflectivity mode here and backing it all out, you can see this is not the end of the thunderstorms. They extend back into south central and southwestern Iowa. So there you can see Interstate 80 right across the central part of the screen there. And look at all the thunderstorms that go back into southwest Iowa. Now, fortunately, nothing severe in southwestern or south central Iowa at this time, but just a giant area of rain there. And as that moves along that boundary, which is pretty much stationary, periods of showers and storms will be likely across the southeastern part of our viewing area for several more hours. And with the rain totals that have been over an inch in spots, I would be surprised to see some 4 or 5 inch rainfall totals coming out of parts of southeastern Iowa as we go through the evening hours tonight. Brandon, anything out your way?
The emergency manager in Johnson County reported pea-sized hail east of Iowa City. That was about 10 minutes ago. You probably can see maybe an uptick in hail as this storm does continue to track to the north and east, and it's moving fairly slow, only about 20 miles per hour. Right. So with the torrential rain that it is putting down, there's no doubt that 1, 2 inches or even more is going to add up in a fairly short amount of time. So that's something to be aware of. As that water is going to quickly add up and could create some problems.
Now, I was wondering if we could get back to our camera in downtown Iowa City there, where we could see the city of Iowa City there. Man, it is just pounding lightning, very impressive. A lot of cloud-to-ground strikes there, cloud to cloud. And now that the rain is moving into Iowa City, that's obstructing the visibility. But it's going to be blowing and storming in Iowa City here for the next 5 or 6 minutes as the core of the storm passes near and just south of there. And that is where we still have a tornado warning in effect. And when you see that kind of lightning, you certainly know that this thing is energized, and there is definitely a strong supercell thunderstorm passing from Iowa City on south towards Hills. Rebecca?
We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Keokuk and Washington County, which is just off back now to the southwest.
Okay, we'll back it down here. And you can see it flashing on the screen. Yes,
and I also did want to say Heather was asking about Tipton. This storm is just to the south of Tipton. Will likely pass just south of Tipton there, but you could start to get in some of the rain up that way.
Yeah, you know, West Branch and West Liberty right now would be in line for the storm, and maybe down to Nichols, but probably a little bit to the north of Nichols. And we'll actually put a fan on here and give our viewers an idea of where this is expected to go. But it's tracking pretty much off in an easterly direction. So I would say the center of it here probably going to be towards Centerdale, West Liberty, Rochester, and Moscow. So that's going to be taking it out of Johnson County into Cedar County between now and 8:30 this evening. But the actual storm itself right now is right on top of Iowa City, where we got some very intense lightning and even some hail in parts of Iowa City.
We can actually go to the, if we go back to the lightning product, we can kind of give an idea of how many strikes are happening, because I can see this camera in front of me. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And here, if I could, I can get you a query.
Yeah.
If you draw a box around here, we can just see Iowa City and Hills, 145 strikes just in that small area.
Yeah, it's a very electrical storm, to say the least. And so that's always one of the dangers with severe thunderstorms. Lightning is something you got to take very seriously, but I think everybody's pretty much inside right now as the storm continues to move off to the east through southern Johnson and extreme northern Washington counties.
And this is the new severe thunderstorm warning.
Right, and that'll be out till 8:45. So there you can see Sigourney and Washington, which will again be impacted by strong thunderstorms. Sigourney, the first wave, went a little bit to the north of you, but you're getting into it right now. And if we get down to some street level mapping here, we'll show you where Sigourney is. And the storm's right now passing right through Sigourney. Probably going to be out of there pretty quick, at least the core of it. But there you can see some of the lightning strikes around Sigourney, and perhaps even some hail in this purple area located right in here. So Sigourney, you are in the core of a pretty impressive thunderstorm too. And just backing things out a little bit here to give you more perspective. There you can see our entire viewing area. Nothing going on to the north of Cedar Rapids, but there are thunderstorms now advancing towards Cedar Rapids, and we'll take a quick look at what we've got there. And it looks like those are passing just to the northwest of the city here. So Center Point, you're involved in that now, and in parts of Benton County, some heavy rain and some lightning going on that area. But the atmosphere not nearly as unstable up in our northern counties. It's down here from Iowa City south. Now we've got a lot better parameters for strong to severe thunderstorms.
I just got a report from Megan in Iowa City that there is a lot of hail in Iowa City near Dodge Street.
So that is in the downtown area then, Dodge Street. Now, the circulation has passed a little bit to the south there, and that's pretty typical. A lot of times the hail will be just to the north of there. But I think, Nick, did you say we have a new picture coming in? Okay. And just, this is some video that was sent in to us, and you can see the lightning in Iowa City, and it's just nearly constant. So like people are taking pictures, bang, 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 bang. That's impressive stuff. Gosh. And there's another perspective, and this is a live picture here taken on the north end of Iowa City back towards the city itself. So you're still in it there in Iowa City, but things should begin to improve in the next 15 minutes from west to east there as it all tracks off in an easterly direction. And is our camera with Nick functioning at all, or are we still down with that? All right, they have had some technical problems out in the field. We had some great pictures from them earlier. As soon as they can bring something up, we'll be getting back to them as well. But there's your tornado warning in this general area right in here. So that does include now the area from Iowa City and Hills back towards Nichols, West Liberty, West Branch, and Lone Tree. Still no confirmed tornadoes, but that general area has got some strong circulation as the storm punches off to the east. And we do understand that Nick's pictures are back up, and so is he, and we'll be checking in with him now.
Hey, Terry. Yeah, we're just passing through Riverside. We are looking off to the north. Again, it's a high precipitation storm. There's a lot of rain falling with the storm. We've also been, as you've been mentioning, a lot of reports of hail falling with the storm as well. We're heading east now on Highway 22. We're going to pass by that Riverside Casino here in just a moment, but as we look off to the left, you can see the storm structure. It's still very evident that the storm is having at least some broad rotation aloft. There are some striations in the clouds. We're kind of in the outflow part of the storm. We kind of got hit by what's called the RFD, or rear flank downdraft. We had some pretty strong wind gusts, maybe 30, 40 miles per hour, as the storm kind of overtook us. We hit a lot of closed roads in northeastern Washington County. That was kind of a nightmare to navigate. But we're now heading back east on Highway 22. We're heading towards Lone Tree. Visually speaking, not a lot happening that we can see. There does appear to be some low-hanging clouds, but again, it's so wrapped in rain, it's just so difficult to make out what's actually happening in the core of the storm right now. And that's a good indication for anybody that may be watching. You're not going to be able to see this thing on top of you. If there is a tornado on the ground, which we don't have a confirmation of, you will not be able to see it. Simply put, it'll be on top of you before you would even know.
And Nick, looking at the echo tops here, I'm just going to do a little query. It looks to me like the storm tops are running around 47 to 50,000 feet in the atmosphere, and that's a big cumulonimbus cloud, to say the least. And anytime you get over 40,000 feet, you've got a very impressive thunderstorm. And so this strong storm is the one that's produced some hail in Iowa City, some torrential rainfall, and probably some gusty winds, maybe 40 to 60 miles an hour, somewhere between Iowa City and Hills as it's moved off to the east. So that should give you a pretty good indication that this thing is a large thunderstorm with a top of 47,000 foot.
And I don't know if I'm still live or not
You are,
right
Nick.
now,
Yeah.
but again, we are heading east. We're heading east on 22, and yeah, you can see we're going to get a little bit of a better view. We're trying to get out ahead of the rain. There's definitely some low-hanging cloud structure buried in the rain there. We cannot make out if there's anything on the ground at the moment, but it definitely appears that there is some low-hanging cloud, especially if you can see in the lightning flashes on the far left part of your screen. The road's not really cooperating with us in terms of getting a good view. But there's definitely something going on in the core of that storm. There's still very strong winds blowing into the updraft of that storm, which is why those cloud tops are as high as they are. And it's the tint of the storm. It's kind of like there was a greenish tint when it was a little bit lighter about 10 minutes ago or so. And that's, again, a really strong indication of a lot of possible hail, also some very, very heavy rain. We're getting reports of maybe the quarter-sized hail kind of falling in the city of Iowa City and points south of that.
I think it's really great to have the live pictures. It's one thing to show people the radar, but that perspective of what's going on the ground there is extremely helpful. So we're glad to have you out there. And Brandon Marshall and Rebecca Kopelman are also in the office tonight, so we're fully staffed here and trying to bring you the best perspective of this intense thunderstorm, which is passing through our southern counties, continuing to produce nearly continuous lightning in Iowa City now. So it's been banging pretty good there for about 15, 20 minutes.
That's a new severe thunderstorm warning they're just issuing for the rest of that storm.
All right, and that's going further east into like Cedar County, it looks like.
Yes.
All right, so that's a good sign that they're putting a thunderstorm warning out based on what we've seen here with the velocity modes, which is where we can tell the rotation of the storm, not as tight as it has been here a little bit earlier on this evening. So the circulation has broadened and weakened some, but that doesn't mean it's not a powerful storm. It certainly is, and is worthy of your respect if you're down there in eastern Johnson County, northwestern parts of Muscatine, and extreme southwestern parts of Cedar County. And it looks like West Liberty is in line for part of the stronger storm here, maybe between there and West Branch, not too far away from Interstate 80. Wouldn't want to be driving on that stretch of road right now. Brandon, anything new over there?
Nothing new that I'm seeing on the chat here, but I did pull up the hail product here, so that the core of that storm is just to the south of Iowa City, putting out over an inch in diameter, quarter-size hail as it continues to track to the southeast. We also have that, actually they just expired the tornado warning for Johnson County, so that has expired, but it does continue for Cedar until 8:45, and we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Keokuk and Washington County, and that is in effect until 8:45 as well.
So the all clear for Johnson County. Excellent news there. Iowa City, you're out of that mess and down towards Hills, which is where the storm has been strongest. Looks like conditions will slowly improve from this particular storm, but it is not the end of thunderstorms tonight. As you'll be able to see on the radar here, we have a lot of those continuing in our southern counties, and we'll back it out a little bit here. And you can see where Iowa City is. That's Interstate 80, that line there, showing all kinds of thunderstorms from Iowa City back to the south towards Sigourney, and eventually it goes back into southwestern Iowa. And even now around Cedar Rapids here and north of us, new thunderstorms have developed. So as long as this boundary remains in place here that extends from near Dubuque and just southeast of Cedar Rapids, the instability is going to be there and the forcing necessary for additional thunderstorms. And we're taking a look now in Cedar Rapids. You can see on our sky cam here from Broadcast Park some of the lightning that's taking place off in the distance. So other parts of the area will be getting in on thunderstorms, but the atmosphere is not as unstable in our northern counties, so not looking for a great deal in the way of severe weather there. Perhaps a few spots with some gusty winds and some small hail, but probably not large enough to reach severe weather parameters. And something else I will mention if you're watching here is that tomorrow certainly looks to be a day to watch here in eastern Iowa. That front's going to be hanging around. We'll still be on the edge of that warm, moist air. And as a low pressure develops and moves towards us later in the day, that should be the focal point to back the winds and potentially develop enough rotation for more supercells and perhaps even some tornadoes. We've seen some of our soundings here indicating that some strong tornadoes would even be a possibility, but everything has to come together just right. So we just want to get it out there that you'll need to pay attention tomorrow. It could be a weather day around parts of eastern Iowa, but all kinds of showers and storms now going on in our southern counties. Rebecca?
We haven't really seen much yet. Just got Molly on Twitter said Iowa City is getting hammered. That was just a couple seconds ago. There's a lot of lightning going on there. Probably not wrong. But also just reports of hail from pea to quarter size in the Iowa City area.
All right. Well, probably not quite strong enough to do or big enough to do any damage, but it certainly does get your attention. And there's that thunderstorm warning now that looks like it's in effect for Keokuk and Washington counties. You can see it flashing on the screen there. That will be available to us until, what, 8:45, the thunderstorm warning? Is that right?
8:45, yes.
They have now said that they are canceling the tornado warning for Cedar and Johnson counties.
Well, that is certainly some excellent news, too. So that being the case, there is no longer any tornado warnings in effect for our viewing area. Is that right?
Yes, that would be correct.
Yes, that sounded very affirmative.
I'm wondering what that other one is on the screen.
There is just a little sliver there, so I'm not sure.
I think that's when they were expiring.
Is that where they're letting
at
it go?
8:15, yeah.
All right, well, we'll double check on that. Why don't you look into that? And then in the meantime, we'll see now where Iowa City is here, that the worst of the storm is now on the eastern and southeastern fringes of Iowa City as it passes along Interstate 80 now, headed for West Branch and maybe as far south as West Liberty. So there's West Branch right in the middle of your screen there. And it looks like the potential is there for some hail and some strong winds. And then once it moves east of there, it is getting out of our viewing area, and we won't have to worry about that particular cell anymore. But still some strong activity going on back to the southwest of us. So if... they're
saying they're going to let that warning expire at 8:15, so in about 3 minutes they're going to let that go.
Okay.
There is still that other severe thunderstorm warning back near Wellman.
Right, and you can see the counties here in this orange shaded area that currently are under severe thunderstorm warnings. But at least for now, we are out of the tornado threat, and hopefully we'll stay out of it for the rest of this evening. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 11 o'clock tonight for much of the area southeast of a line from Dubuque to about Cedar Rapids. So it's southeast of that line where the greatest threat for severe weather will continue, at least for another hour or two. But I think things will diminish. Now it's getting into that threat of heavy rainfall over a short period of time that in some areas might even produce a little bit of flash flooding. So something we'll keep a close eye on. And for now, we'll get back to you for regular programming. We'll keep a close eye on the situation. If anything changes, we'll be back with you instantaneously. Thanks.